Tjena, hejsan, hallå, and welcome back. If you're new to the channel, my name is Martin, and this channel is all about being outdoors and doing things outdoor. When I grew up, there was really only one type of kitchen, and that's the alcohol-based kitchen, or T-sprit, as we call it here in Sweden. And the reason for that was that was the kitchen my dad chose to use, and then I have been using that my whole life as well. Today, I'm out here in this beautiful nature reserve called Alapsbjer, or Södra Hultarp. And I am going to enjoy this morning, and I will also be doing a comparison between an alcohol-based kitchen and a gas kitchen. So, join me. Yeah. Alcohol, gas, they look a little bit different, right? But we are not going to compare the pots. We will focus on the burners. And if we open them up like this, so in the gas kitchen, you have a burner, a gas burner. And what it's essentially is doing is that you need to screw on the gas canister on top of the burner, and up inside the burner, the gas will come and it will mix with oxygen. And that will become a highly flammable gas. In the alcohol kitchen, we have a burner, it looks like this. You fill it up with alcohol, but you can also take a Coca-Cola bottle and just cut the bottom of it and pour the alcohol in that and use that type of jar. So you can essentially use any type of jar as an alcohol burner. These ones that are built for it, they are actually made to be a little bit more effective though. And as I said, I will not compare the pots because you can buy both alcohol stoves and gas burners in very different setups, and that means that they can weigh very differently and have very different size. So I will focus on the burnable part, and as you can see, size-wise, it's really not that big of a difference between the burners, because this you can put on somewhere where it's non-flammable and use it like this, or you have the gas burners looks like this. So if I measure the alcohol one, it's 111 grams. And if I take the gas burner, it's 150 grams. So the gas burner is more heavy, but it's actually a very small difference in size. So for me personally, I don't think that small of a weight difference would really matter for which one I would choose. Now I will do a small experiment, and that's to see how effective these burners are. And I will boil half a liter, which is 0.13 gallons of water, and I will take the time, and I will also measure the amount of fuel that is being used. I have the gas canister set up here. I have measured the weight of the gas canister, so I know how much gas there is inside. I have the alcohol stove here, and I've measured in the same way weight how much alcohol there is, or the complete weight. So I will measure afterwards, and that way I can see how much gas versus how much alcohol is being used. I will use a very similar type of jar, and I have measured half a liter here, which should go inside the pot. Lighting the gas kitchen, and it's lit there. And then I will put this one on. I need it so I can put the pot there. And then I am starting this like that. And just to be a little bit effective, I will actually do both tests in parallel. So I will start the gas kitchen here. And now that is on. And I will put this one to the flame as well. It's not yet boiling, but it's starting to be really warm inside the gas pot. And I see a little bit of bubbles on the bottom of the alcohol stove as well. And I would actually need to say that we have boiling water there. So the gas is 752. So I will actually now pour out the water here so that we can look at another thing soon. Ooh, cloudy. One thing that I also can say while we're waiting for the alcohol to boil is that this pot is not constructed or built for this gas burner. With this gas burner I have a different type of pot with a heat exchanger in the bottom, which actually is a lot more effective when you boil water, for example, or heat this up. But I wanted to use the same kind of pot to kind of give you a fair comparison. And now we are almost boiling here. And I would say we're boiling there 9:33 using the gas. It was quicker. It took 8.5 minutes roughly with this pot, and with the gas alcohol it took 9.5 minutes, so roughly a minute longer. The other thing that we then can compare in efficiency is the amount of gas. So the gas I used during this time was 7 grams from this canister, and the price of those 7 grams is roughly 3 Swedish kronor. And the other thing I compared is the alcohol then, and that took a little bit longer, as I said, and I used roughly 24 grams of alcohol with this T-Red, or the classical one, and the price for those 24 grams are 2 Swedish kronors. So, 3 kronors for the gas, 2 for the alcohol. Another thing that is quite interesting to look at is the soothing, how much sough the gas is producing. So this is the pot that I use with the gas. It's cooled off now, so I can take it. And this is a white napkin. So if I do like that, there is no sooth. There is absolutely no sooth on the one that I used for the gas. This one I used for the alcohol, and you can already see by looking at it that there is sooth here. So if I take, doesn't actually go off, but you see there is on the napkin. There is black sooth on it. I'm gonna redo the test. I'm gonna see if the specific fuel that I have never seen before, if that is actually more effective. And it's not really a comparison to gas, because I still think gas is gonna win in time. Does it really matter if we use one type or another type of alcohol when we use our stove? So let's try it out, but I will spare you the wait. Okay, so we did the test with the special fuel that was supposed to be made for this type of stoves. It actually took 45 seconds longer to boil a half a liter of water. The fuel consumption though was lower, so the price, we used roughly 15 grams of alcohol here, and the price for this was only 1 krona. So gas 3 krona, the traditional 2 krona, and this 1 krona. So you see there's a big gap in price. Again, it comes down to how much fuel do you actually need to use over a year. I roughly use 1 to 2 liters fuel a year, so the consumption is not that much. Now you see another disadvantage here with the alcohol kitchen. I need to burn out the last alcohol, because it's not really good to pour it back into the bottle, or I can't really do that. So now I need to burn it up here. So it's better to just take a little bit at a time and then refill as you go. With the gas, you just simply turn it off when you're done, and you don't use any gas unnecessarily. So that's also a big difference. Let's look at the soothing, how much there is under the pot on this different fuel I used. So I have again a white napkin here, and I'm gonna rub it on the underside. And actually there is a little bit of sooth, but just a little bit. It's almost as good as the gas. So from that perspective, I would actually use this this fuel in the future, because I really hate to have this sooth on the pots, and you get that into your backpack and everything gets dirty and it's harder to clean. So that's a good surprise. When I'm out in the forest, I love the silence. I love the sound of the birds, the leaves on the trees, the dog barking sometimes. Just enjoy the silence, just being alone. But when you cook, the stoves actually make sounds. I don't know if you thought about it when I was using the gas stove before. There is a very loud wheezing sound, or very loud. There is a wheezing sound going on it. The alcohol kitchen, on the other hand, is dead silent. I actually have the alcohol kitchen on behind me, and you can't even hear it. The situation is also something that is impacting how well the kitchen will work for you. So there's mainly two parameters that I think you should know about. One thing is wind. So if it's quite windy where you are, you may have huge problem with the alcohol kitchen because it's easily let out by the wind. The gas, on the other hand, will work very well in windy conditions. You just need to have a little bit of cover and it's going to be fine. It's going to be working quite well anyway. The other thing that you need to think about is temperature. So if you have a very cold situation, let's say that you're out in the winter and it's a couple of minus degrees, your gas kitchen will work very, very badly. So gas is very sensitive to cold weather. The alcohol is not. So the alcohol will still work. It may be a little bit harder to light, but it will still work very well in cold conditions. Let's talk a little bit about the environment, right? Because most of us that is out a lot is also a little bit concerned about what's going on with the climate and everything. So we have the gas fuel and we have the alcohol fuel. Gas fuel is generally created by fossil fuel. So it's something that you pump up from the ground and you put into these bottles. That is not very good for the environment. However, in the future we may see biogases, so that essentially things that is being produced by rotten food, and you can make gas from that and put that into canisters. It's nothing that is available where I live at least, but maybe we can see that in the future. If you look at alcohol, alcohol is often done chemically as well, at least the fuels, and they are not super good either for the environment because there is things inside them that is not renewable. But at least the contents of the alcohol is renewable. So from that perspective, it's probably a little bit better than the gas. Just to mention also that the gas I use today is from Primus. No relationship at all with Primus, but they also buy shares to make them more environmentally friendly. So the impact is less there. Since I'm sitting here waiting for the alcohol burner to burn out, I thought it could be a good thing to talk a little bit about reliability as well. So the gas burner is a more complicated build than the alcohol burner. There is more moving parts in it, and there is also rubber valves and things like that in here to make it not leak gas essentially. If you would step on this, it would likely break. So the gas burner has a lot more things that can break than the alcohol burner. You can, without any problem, step on the alcohol burner. You can probably drive over it with your car and you will still be able to use it. So from the reliability standpoint, the alcohol burner is probably better. So what is the best kitchen type? Well, I don't know. What's best for you? You need to decide, right? But there is some pros and cons with them. So for example, alcohol kitchens, they are probably cheaper to run. I mean, the fuel is cheaper, but they doesn't work very well in windy conditions. But they work quite well when it's cold. Gas, on the other hand, they are faster. They use more. They are more costly when you use them, but they will work better in windy conditions, but not so good in cold conditions. The absolute best thing I enjoy with being outdoors is a freshly cooked cup of coffee and just enjoying the silence. This is not bad for being a random Friday in September. So if you like this video, please like it by giving it a thumbs up below, and why not subscribe as well, so then you don't miss out on anything I will do in the future. Until next time, are you gonna say hi? No? Until next time, have a good one.